Hello, welcome to a continuation of the laws of Lashon Harah, Sefer Chavetz Chaim, how to speak well about each other and not to speak evil, which is a Torah prohibition. We're talking about now Avak Lashon Harah, which is not the, we'll say in Yiddish, the spitz type of Lashon Harah, but it's types of speech that could lead to Lashon Harah. Not only do we have to be careful about not saying anything negative about one another, but we have to be careful not to say anything that could lead to something being said negatively about one another. So, for instance, something we said would be in this prohibition is praising somebody in front of his enemy. If you go in front of someone's enemy and praise him and say how wonderful he is, that's going to cause his enemy to say negative things. So that will be a prohibition of avak lashon hara, the dust of lashon hara, because you are causing somebody else to speak lashon hara. So you see how careful we have to be when it comes to speaking about others and worrying about the feelings and honor of another human being. So we're on chapter 9, halacha number 292, Tespes, and we mentioned, fine, now we're going to continue where we left off. So it says usually you can praise somebody to a certain extent in front of those that don't hate him, right? Just in front of normal people, you can speak positively about somebody in a normal sense, right? Just don't go overboard. If you go overboard in praising somebody, then people will say, oh yeah, he's not really that great because of XYZ. So that you can't do. But now, what about in a group, a large group? Can you praise somebody in front of a large group of people? Now, what should be the issue with praising someone in front of a large group of people? So let's see. מימינים ומסמיעים או מקנים ועל שיזכיר בשבחיו יבוא לספר בגנוסו. He says that anytime there's a large group of people, you're going to have some bad people in the crowd. And if you start praising somebody in front of a large group of people, that is going to cause some people that don't like him or some evil folks to speak Lashon Hara about him. So one shouldn't do that so that these people don't speak Lashon Hara about him. Now he writes here in the note here, but if you are speaking in front of a large group and you know that the large group will not speak Lashon Hara about him, let's say they don't know who you're talking about, then nevertheless you are allowed to speak positively about him as long as you don't go overboard. So there's a prohibition to any time to ever speak so positively about someone to go overboard and to like really overdo it, because that actually might cause, usually sometimes what people do is when they praise somebody way too much, they have to qualify and say, yeah, except for XYZ, that's a little bit of a problem. And that's straight up Lashon Hara. Saying anything negative about somebody is Lashon Hara. So we're worried that if you praise someone and go overboard and like really overdo it, then you're going to qualify your statement and say, yeah, but he does have XYZ, which isn't so great. But if you're in a large crowd, then you're not allowed to praise somebody at all, because we're worried there's going to be somebody in the crowd who's going to make a snarky, negative remark, which will be a problem. Now, if the people in the crowd don't know him, or if you know that the people in the crowd won't do this, then it's okay. But still, in the crowd, you can't overdo it. And then he has another exception. However, if the person you're speaking about in public, everybody knows is a righteous person, and he's a wonderful human being, and you can't find there's nothing wrong with him. He doesn't do anything wrong. Even the people that hate him can't really say anything wrong about him. Then you could praise him. Right? If you're praising somebody who everyone knows is like a really righteous person and a wonderful human being, it's not really going to cause anybody to say anything negative about him. And if they do say something negative about him, no one's going to believe it, because everybody knows that this guy is a really righteous fellow. And if people speak Lashon Hara about him, they're going to just ignore it. So just to summarize, in general, one should not overdo praise when he's praising somebody, right? It's obviously good to, say good things about people. We're talking about like way overdoing it. That might cause somebody to speak Lashon Hara. Or doing it in front of a group, praising someone it could be a problem, unless the people don't really recognize who you're talking about, or you're talking about a really righteous person. And again, the reason is because we're worried that not that you're going to speak Lashon Hara, but that somebody in the crowd, there's always one in the crowd who has to say something negative, and we don't want to cause any way to something negative to be spoken about somebody. So you see again how careful the Torah is in making sure that something negative isn't spoken, that we're worried that even if you praise somebody, which you'd think is always positive, even if you praise somebody, that might cause somebody else to say something negative, so even that you have to be careful of. So you see the Torah is extremely strict and extremely careful about the feelings and the honor of another human being. Okay, halacha gimel, let's move on. And this is a slightly different topic. Im yesh lo la'adam li zaher, o gam yesh lo la'adam li zaher, l'shabech es chavero, b'shvach haba li dehefsed. You're not allowed to praise somebody if that praise will lead to a loss. Again, what does that mean? Ke'inyan ha'arech shiyatze b'rechov ha'ir v'yifarsim lakol es asher gam l'bal habayis tova ba'achilu shtiya v'tarach l'fanav harbe ki ayidei zeh yislaktu anashim rekim v'yasuru al beis bal habayis v'yichlu es memono. It says that, let's say you're a guest at somebody's house, and you go into the street, and go and tell people, wow, I was just the guest that Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, yeah, they were so nice to me, they were such wonderful hosts, his wife makes the best cholent I ever had, the best kugel, it was fantastic, such good food, and the food kept coming, I'm going to go back there, what a wonderful place. So what's going to happen? People are going to hear about that, and now every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going to try to get a meal over at Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so's house, and it's going to cause them a loss. They're gonna have to constantly, they're nice people, and they're going to constantly be providing for everyone. So it's not fair that through your praise of them, that's going to cause them a loss. So one has to be careful about doing that. It says in Mishnah, right? Praising somebody in the morning could lead to a curse for them by the evening. Same thing, if you borrow money from somebody, let's say you're in dire straits and you need to borrow some money, and somebody did a very nice mitzvah and lent you some money, so you go and start telling people, oh, you know, Shlomo is such a nice person, he lent me $10,000, I didn't have any money, oh, what a great guy, he lent me so much money. And what's going to happen? All the crooks and all the evil people are going to start going to Shlomo trying to borrow money from him, and they're going to give him a very hard time, and he's going to not have a minute to himself. So it's not fair to do that to somebody. Very interesting. This is another topic. When someone is speaking, even if it's not Lashon Hara, but he has to be careful that it doesn't sound like Lashon Hara. Meaning, if you're saying evil about somebody, and let's say it's a situation where you're allowed, like it's a toelis, or meaning it's for a purpose, or there's some other permissible reason, you have to make sure that the people know that you're speaking the Lashon Hara in a permissible way, because you don't want people to think that you're speaking Lashon Hara. You're not allowed to do that, and that's also considered a vak Lashon Hara. So just to summarize, we're learning now the laws of Avak Lashon Hara. I think we actually concluded this part of the chapter. Next part of the chapter is going to be about another topic, but Avak Lashon Hara means to you're not actually speaking evil about others, but through your speech it's going to come out that evil will be spoken about others. Or the other case we had is that you're praising somebody, and through that praise it's going to cause them a financial loss by saying what a wonderful host someone was, or by saying so great of him to lend you money. So all of those things are problematic, and we see how far the Torah goes in being careful about the feelings of others, that even when not actually speaking evil, it is still prohibited. So God willing, tomorrow we will continue, and then pretty soon we're going to get on the topic which we've mentioned many times, is the L'Toelis. When is it allowed? Not tomorrow, we're not going to get there, but in a few days, when is it allowed to speak Lashon Hara? And if it's allowed, what are the conditions? There's 7 conditions we're going to go through, which should be very, very exciting. Hope everyone has a beautiful day.